Welcome back to a new one. So today we're in Los Angeles, California. This is Outpost Estates. Now we're walking down to Outpost Drive, which is where Bob Barker lived. Now Bob Barker was famously the host of The Price is Right, and he lived in this house for a long, long time. He lived here with his wife Dolores. She passed away well before he did, but Bob Barker lived in this house until the final days of his life, and he actually passed away in this house. Now at the end of this video, we're also going to go and visit his final resting place, so let's take a look at the house. Most of us know Bob Barker pretty well. He was the host of The Price is Right, and he was a pretty much a legend in television history. Now, Bob Barker started hosting The Price is Right in 1972, and he was known for being a huge advocate for animal rights. Bob Barker had a really interesting life. He was born in Darrington, Washington, and he spent most of his youth on the Rosebud Indian Reservation in Mission, South Dakota. Now, the U.S. Indian Census lists Bob Barker as a citizen of the Rosebud Sioux tribe, and the tribe publicly confirmed that. He had a pretty interesting upbringing. He attended grade school on the Rosebud Reservation, where his mother was a teacher. Barker once said, I've always bragged about being part Indian because they are people to be proud of, and the Sioux were the greatest warriors of them all. Barker met his future wife Dorothy at an Ella Fitzgerald concert while he was attending high school in Missouri, and then he attended Drury College in Springfield, Missouri on a basketball scholarship. And he joined the U.S. Army, or the Navy Reserve, I believe, in 1943 during World War II, and he trained as a fighter pilot, but he didn't actually serve in combat. Here's the gate to the old Bob Barker estate. This is on Outpost Drive. I will walk around and I'll show you what I can of the home. But for a little bit more, Bob Barker became the host of Truth or Consequences, and he remained the host from 1956 until 1975. Became the host of The Price is Right in 1972, and he was the host of The Price is Right until 2007. So that's a really, really long time. But this was the home that Bob Barker lived in. He bought this house in 1969. It is an original 1920s home, and not much has been done with it. The house has went up for sale for, I believe, $3 million, and it just sold for a little over asking price. Up until a few years ago, if you took one of those Hollywood bus tours and they took you by this home, a lot of times you'd see Bob Barker outside here, and he would come out and speak to people on the tour buses, which is kind of unheard of for, Hollywood this day and age. But I'll insert a couple of pictures in here from the real estate listing. This is what the backyard looked like. There was a photo here of the entryway also. It was a very nice home, but like I said, original 1920s, and not a whole lot has changed. The home did end up selling for much more than asking price, so there must have been some kind of a bidder war or something like that, but I believe it ended up selling for about $3.8 million, and it was just sold recently within the last couple of months. Parker lived in this home for over 50 years. He lived here with his wife, Dolores. She passed away in 1981. And then he ended up purchasing burial plots at Forest Lawn, Hollywood Hills, which is where he's also laid to rest. And we'll go visit there in just a little bit. But this is also the home that Bob Barker passed away in at the age of 99 in 2023. Now, it was August 26th of 2023 that Bob passed away, just shy of his 100th birthday. I mean, he was going to turn 100 on December 12th of 2023. So he missed it by only a few months. Most of us have very fond memories of Bob Barker. When I was a kid, I would, on days when I would be sick, I would stay home and I would watch Price is Right, and I would hope to see them play Plinko. That was always my favorite game. But, a lot of people watched The Price is Right. It was one of the most successful TV shows, especially game shows in the television history. But this was the final home of Bob Barker. And I should note that this is right in the heart of Hollywood. Just north of us is Mulholland Drive, which is one of the most star-studded and most expensive real estate in Los Angeles. Just to the south of us is Franklin, and to the south of that is, Hollywood Boulevard. And we're only about a half mile right now from the busiest intersection of Hollywood and Highland. Let's head across town and we'll pay our respects to Bob Barker. Now here we are at Forest Lawn, Hollywood Hills. This is one of the most star-studded cemeteries anywhere in Los Angeles. Come to visit Bob Barker. If you come into the front gate, come down just a little bit and he will be up the hill on the right-hand side. Just up here is going to be the final resting place of Bob Barker and his wife Dorothy. Now, Bob Barker purchased this plot when his wife Dorothy passed away in 1981, and it was just recently, obviously, that Bob was laid to rest here. But a lot of people say that they can't believe how small his grave is. But if you notice that all of the graves over here are small, flat headstones. I think we found it now. He's just a little to the right of this big tree here. Here is his wife, Dorothy Jo Barker, 1924 to 1981. She was only 57 years old, but she passed away from lung cancer. Here's Bob, Robert W. Barker, 1923 to 2023. Very simple marker. But I should also note that Bob Barker never had any kids. He stated before that he knew too many people that had kids that were career driven, and they didn't raise them quite right. They didn't have enough time to dedicate to their kids. And he was a busy career guy, so he had the foresight to know that that wasn't really in his cards. Kind of an interesting note. I always found it interesting, though, that some of these people can be such huge stars and massive legends when they're here on Earth, but then once they're gone, they're no different than anyone else. They're just a headstone here and in the ground, and it's kind of sad in a way, but, we all end up in the same place, and it's kind of a reminder to stay humble. That's all I have for you for today, so thanks for joining, and hopefully you learned a little bit about Bob Barker and enjoyed seeing his house and his final resting place. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video. Take care.